This is the Scorecard, where you score the latest sports news and in-depth views. I'm Anton Roxas. On the Scorecard tonight, Biado, Chua, Regalario storm into last 64 of Florida Open. U.S. Open smashes records with $90 million prize pool, biggest in tennis history. Pawol also makes Major League Baseball history as first woman to umpire a regular season game. Romero freezes Ohtani with filthy slider. Cards stun Dodgers 5-3 in homecoming thriller. In the WNBA, Valkyries' fourth quarter rally falls short against Aces as they lose 78-72. While in the NBA, the Bulls unleash pinstripe flashback, channeling the Jordan era in Statement Edition Fire. And joining us live in the studio are members of Solid Inc., a group of coaches and sports officials aiming to set the gold standard of coaching in the country. All the headlines and more on the Scorecard tonight, the 7th of August. Now, here's our roundup. The billiards heat is in on Orlando, and Team Philippines is bringing the fire. Reigning World Pool King Carlo Biado, along with sharpshooters Johann, Chua, and Bernie Regalario, punched their tickets to the last 64 of the 2025 Florida Open Pool Championship, following clutch victories in the third round at the Caribe Royale Resort in Orlando. Biado showed no mercy, dismantling fellow Filipino Roland Garcia 9-4. Chua and Regalario, meanwhile, turned their matches into heart-stoppers, edging Norway's Emil Gangflot and Canada's John Mora in back-to-back 9-8 thrillers. And the Filipino charge isn't over yet. 8 more Pinoy Q artists remain in contention for spots in the knockout stage, including veterans Lee Van Corteza and Marvin Assis, who were battling Finland's Arseni Sebastianov and Scotland's Jason Shaw at press time. Also keeping their Florida Open dreams alive from the loser side are Harry Vergara, Roberto Gomez, and Miguel Salvilla. The tournament started with a massive 256-player field and with $200,000 on the line, including a $40,000 grand prize. The road to glory just got even more intense. Will another Filipino lift the trophy in Orlando? Stay tuned. The stakes have never been higher and the money has never been bigger as the U.S. Open drops a historic $90 million bombshell that's set to redefine tennis history. That's a massive 20% jump from last year's record, $75 million, as organizers respond to growing calls from ATP and WTA stars for more equitable revenue sharing across the Grand Slams. This year, both the men's and the women's singles champions will each take home a whopping $5 million, up from last year's $3.6 million. But it doesn't stop there. Early rounds and qualifiers will also see double-digit percentage increases as the tournament continues its strategic push for better distribution. The action gets underway on August 24 to September 7, with singles competition expanded to 15 days due to surging attendance, after the tournament cracked 1 million fans for the first time in 2024. Now, also making headlines is the mixed doubles format shakeup, now set to feature star-studded singles players competing over 2 days ahead of the main draw at Flushing Meadows. The U.S. Open isn't just raising the bar, it's breaking it. JoJo Romero lived every young ball player's dream, striking out Shohei Ohtani in a clutch moment at Dodger Stadium and helping the St. Louis Cardinals pull off a dramatic 5-3 comeback win over the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Californian native from nearby Camarillo delivered the game's turning point in the 7th inning, whipping a filthy 2-2 slider that got Ohtani swinging and sent the Cards dugout into a frenzy. The Dodgers looked dominant early behind Ohtani's 8 strikeouts in 4 innings and a 440-foot two-run bomb in the third. But the Cardinals refused to fold. Jordan Walker tied the game in the eighth with a clutch RBI double. Then Masin Wins scored the go-ahead run after a throwing error. Walker had 3 hits while Win, Pedro Pages, Brendan Donovan, and Alec Burleson chipped in 2 hits apiece. Kyle Leahy struck out 4 in 2 2/3 innings of scoreless relief. Riley O'Brien earned his first career MLB save, and Romero notched the win, his second big moment of the series after earning the save on Monday. With multiple bullpen veterans traded at the deadline and an injury to John King, Romero has become the go-to guy for St. Louis, holding lefties to a .213 average with 20 strikeouts and 0 home runs. In front of family and friends, Romero didn't just pitch, he delivered a moment he'll never forget. In Major League Baseball, Jen Pawol is set to become the first female to umpire an official MLB game. Pawol continues to break barriers, joining the crew for the Braves versus Marlins series in Atlanta. Major League Baseball announced that Pawol will be part of a 5-person umpire team covering the doubleheader and taking the plate for the finale at Truist Park. Pawol, a 47-year-old former Hofstra softball standout, began umpiring in baseball in 2016 and made AAA history in 2023 as the first woman to officiate at that level in 34 years. Her journey began in college softball and took her through the ranks of the minor leagues with dedication and grit. Pawol's call-up comes as part of MLB's ongoing efforts to promote diversity and inclusion on the field. In 2024, she officiated a spring training game between the Astros and Nationals, becoming the first female umpire in an MLB preseason game since 2007. Now, she's officially headed to the big leagues, ready to call balls and strikes on baseball's biggest stage. It was a valiant effort at Chase Center, but the Golden State Valkyries' fourth-quarter comeback wasn't enough to topple the defending champions. Down by 10 entering the final frame, the Valkyries sparked a 9-2 run to trim the Las Vegas Aces' lead to just 3. They clamped down defensively, holding the Aces to a cold 2-for-12 shooting in the fourth. But offensive struggles in the clutch sealed their fate in a 78-72 loss. Tiffany Hayes returned from a 2-game absence and delivered a team-high 14 points, adding 9 rebounds to match her season high. She came alive late, pouring in 8 of her 14 points in the final quarter alone. Cecilia Zandalasini also made her return from injury, while Janelle Salaun chipped in 13 points and dished out a team-best 3 assists. Rookie Carla Leite scored 11 in 24 minutes, showing no fear attacking the rim. Newcomer Kyla Charles impressed again, tallying 11 points on a near-perfect 4 of 5 shooting. The Valkyries nailed 18 of 19 free throws, a scorching 94.7%, their second-best mark from the stripe this season. Despite the loss, the Valkyries continue to show heart and hustle as the season heats up. The Stripes are back and they're louder than ever as the Chicago Bulls pay homage to their Jordan-dominated dynasty with a statement uniform that screams championship legacy. Intriguing, compelling, exciting. There's never a wrong time to revisit the Jordan era, and the Chicago Bulls know that better than anyone. The franchise unveiled their new statement edition uniforms for the 2025-26 season, bringing back the iconic black and red pinstripes that defined their 90s dominance. It's the first time the legendary look returns since the 2012-13 season, but the pinstripe power runs deep. Originally debuting in the 1995-96 campaign, then making appearances in 96-97, 2007-08, and 2012-2013 seasons. To celebrate the throwback drop, the Bulls tapped no less than Dennis Rodman himself who won 2 titles in those threads alongside Michael Jordan. The star in a video reveal alongside current Bulls Kobe White and Matas Buzelis. The move marks a citywide nod to the golden era as the Chicago White Sox, also owned by Jerry Reinsdorf, dropped their own black and red pinstripe City Connect uniforms back in May. But while the look is straight from the dynasty days, this season's Bulls are still in rebuild mode, coming off a 39-43 record and entering the 2025-26 campaign with the 22nd best title odds at BetMGM, sitting at 5 or 50,000. Their major offseason additions include former Cavs wing Isaac Okoro and first-round rookie Noah Esenge, as they hope to channel some of that 90s magic. The threads may be vintage, but the mission is modern. Now the question is, can the style inspire substance? And here's your daily dose of sports lingo. What does it mean when a ball is frozen in billiards? In the world of billiards, a frozen ball refers to a ball that is either touching either a rail or another ball. This seemingly simple position can completely change the strategy of a shot because special rules apply when a ball is frozen to a rail. For example, the cue ball must contact another rail or object ball after the shot to avoid a foul. This tactical element of the game adds pressure and precision to every move on the table. A frozen ball may look trapped, but in the hands of a skilled player, it can be a secret weapon. Now it's time for our off-court buzzer. When you call out the refs, the league will hit back. And Sophie Cunningham is paying the price loudly. The Indiana Fever guard is making headlines not just for her play, but for her criticism of WNBA officiating. On her podcast, Show Me Something, Cunningham revealed she was fined $1,500 for calling out ref inconsistencies during the show's premiere. Earlier, she was fined $500 for a TikTok post mocking refs with lyrics that implied they were slow and useless, among others. Cunningham was also fined $400 for a flagrant 2 foul against JC Sheldon in June, which led to her ejection and a mini scene on court. Reports confirmed additional penalties, but the full amount was undisclosed. On her podcast, she claimed she was only saying what others think and questioned how obvious calls could be missed. Even after being warned by Fever GM Amber Cox, Cunningham stood by her words. Despite the fines, Cunningham isn't backing down. While she's emerging as one of the most vocal voices in the WNBA, challenging officials and pushing conversations league-wide, and the fans, well, they can't get enough of the enforcer. And that's our roundup for tonight, the 7th of August. When we return, joining us live in the studio are members of Solid Inc., a group of coaches and sports officials aiming to set the gold standard of coaching in the country. So keep it right here on The Scorecard. Welcome back to The Scorecard. They are a dedicated group of coaches and sports officials united by one goal: to set the gold standard of coaching in the Philippines by introducing TESDA-accredited courses for referees, coaches, and sports personnel, and further uplift the status of sports in the country. Please welcome to The Scorecard, Sports or Solid Inc. Chairman Darren Evangelista and Board of Directors member Roel Alvarez. Coach Darren, Coach Roel, maraming salamat sa oras. Solid Inc. here tonight on The Scorecard.
Magandang gabi, sir.
Coach Darren, Coach Roel, bago tayo magsimula, could you kindly introduce yourselves and of course tell us a little bit about Solid Inc.
I'm Coach Darren. I've been coaching for swimming for 30 years. No? I'm also a varsity of basketball, volleyball, swimming, and athletics, black belt in Taekwondo.
Wow!
And I was also the commissioner now, no? Currently, the Senior Golf Organization of the Philippines. Ako yung commissioner nila ngayon. So basically, kaya ako inano yung solid is to help all coaches to be professionalized.
Ayun.
Maging professional sila. Yung certificate nila is standard. Yun po talaga ang ano namin, ang objective ng organization namin.
So you are the chairman of Solid Inc. and you have one of the members of your board of directors, si Coach Roel. Kayo naman, Coach, pakilala naman po kayo.
Coach Roel Alvarez from Tondo. Way back 15 years ago, I was the flyer boy or flyer giver of Coach Darren Evangelista
Okay.
under Milo swimming program. Now, I have my own swimming class with 9 coaches. And then, my venue is in New Manila,
Okay.
First Street. Ngayon, tuloy-tuloy naman yung lesson namin, whole year round. Ang mga swimmers natin from grassroots.
Okay.
Yun yung idea ng Solid Inc. na gusto namin lahat ng mga grassroots natin. For example, yung mga totally beginner, matry natin ng higher level of competition. Yun yung dinedevelop na Solid Inc.
Grabe, Coach, from flyer boy
Yes, from
to
flyer boy.
coach.
Ganda ng story.
And then now, member of your board of directors. Coach
Yes,
Darren, kwento
oo.
niyo naman po sa amin and everybody watching right now kung paano nabuo, how did the idea start, and ano ba ang purpose ng pagkakaroon ng Solid Inc.?
Ang purpose po talaga niya is to create a TESDA accredited. No? Minsan nga hindi nila maintindihan kung bakit TESDA eh. Pero piniliwanag ko yan kay Secretary Mangunda Dato during that time na siya pa yung secretary. In-interview nila ako, ang dami, mga ilang undersecretary yung kausap ko, na bakit TESDA? Kasi it's a technical and vocational course talaga. Wala ka namang papasukang na eskwelahan, no? Na ang trabaho mo is referee. Di ba? Tama? Wala eh. So, it's part of the tech book industry. Kaya ang tawag sa official ng sports is technical official. Wala talagang papasokang eskwelahan para maging technical ka o coach ka. Let's say ako, for example, I've been coaching swimming, no? Naging 5-time NCAA champion coach ako. Pero wala akong certification. Naniniwala na lang sa akin yung mga tao na naging coach ako. Pero ang nagbigay lang sa akin ng break is yung perpetual. Ikaw, nakikita kita nasa perpetual, nasa NCAA, nagko-cover ka. Yun yung ano niya, yun yung dilema. So ngayon, even sa ibang bansa, tumatawag sa akin, Coach, meron ka bang certified na swimming instructor? Saan ako kukuha ng swimming instructor? Kasi wala eh. Maaring merong swimming instructor sa ibang organization, pero it's not a standardized government-issued certificate. Doon kami belong, no? From sports entrepreneur, no? Kanina pinapaliwanag ko sa iyo habang ini-interview mo ko, sports officiating, sports coaching, sports management, at saka sports komentaryo. Saan ka kumuha ng sports komentaryo mo? Na course? Wala, di ba? It's in your it's in your soul. Sabi mo nga kanila, it's in your soul. I love it. Ganon din sa amin. We want to professionalize our
Coaches.
expertise na standardized ng government entity. Yun ang gusto naming i-empower sa mga coaches. Lalong-lalo na pagkatapos ng mga NCAA, let's say di siya naging PBA, ang karir nila nag-end up as a basketball coach. Saan sila kukuha ng certification? Pwede mag-seminar sila sa mga organization ng, let's say, NSA, National Sports Association. Eh, minsan nagpapalit yung NSA. At tulad ng dati, BAP yan eh. BAP ang basketball, no? Na total, napag-usapan natin basketball ngayon. Merong SBP, merong PBA. Iba-ibang technical official na nagse-certify dyan. Ngayon, bago ka pumunta doon, dapat may TESDA at least NC2 credit ka. At the same time kasi, kapag NC2 ang course mo, government-supplied scholarship. Which is, katulad niya, magse-seminar sila ng coaching. Sir, alam niyo po ba, magkano seminar ng coaching? Pupunta ka lang ng Singapore. Mga 50,000 yan.
Wow.
Level by level.
Level 1. Kung dito naman sa Pilipinas, nag-aaral 150, 25,000. Ang mahal po. 3 araw lang po yun. Hindi katulad sa TESDA, yung NC2 mo, 15 days yan. Intensive talaga ang gusto naming mangyari, mapag-aralan yung coaching. Ganun po ang pinagsimulan niyan. At sabi ko nga, buuin natin to. Siya, ang empleyado niya, ang certification kumpanya niya. Kasi meron siyang na empleyado. Yung certification ng graduation mo, no? Sa kumpanya din. Mas maganda siguro merong government seal to professionalize our field of na pinasok na kabuhayan. Wala po kasi talaga nagse-certify na standard.
So in a way, Coach, what you cater to is to help people like coaches, referees, to beef up their resume para mas umangat pa yung kanilang credentials
Yes, sir.
to increase their chances of
Yes,
getting
sir.
jobs here and maybe
And abroad. And
okay,
abroad.
okay.
Marami pong coaches, no? Kinukuha sa atin, di ba? Dinadala sa Dubai, dinadala sa Saudi. Nagko-coach sila doon, pero ang certification
Walang accreditation or
basta
anything.
nakalagay lang doon, swimming coach ako. Tapos testingin lang, o meron akong first aid and CPR, swimming coach ako. So pero ang nangyayari, hindi siya standard certification. Ang sa amin lang is to help Filipino na maging ma-empower through their sports na pinasukan. No? Ito perfect example, sir. Nag-master diver ako eh. No? I'm a master diver ng PADI.
Okay.
Alam niyo po ba, bago ako mag-master ng dive PADI, ang nagastos niyan, 500,000.
Wow.
Samantalang napakadali lang pong pag-aralan. Kaya lang mahal. Pero kaming mga gusto namin, magkaroon din ng diving ng scuba diving na TESDA NC1, NC2, NC3, NC4. At the same time, TESDA can give scholarship. LGU can give livelihood programs. Galing sa kanila yung funds. Kaya yun po ang kakulangan sa Pilipinas dahil hindi mapondohan ng gobyerno yung mga ganitong klaseng endeavor dahil wala siyang certification na government ang magbibigay. Kayo nga sir, magpapamasahe kayo, tatanong niyo pa, TESDA credit ka ba?
In addition, sir, ang inaay talaga ng Solid Inc., yung pinaka-barangay level kami mag-start.
Okay.
Hindi lang
Totoo.
sa mga actual coaches na, hindi. Yung mga zero knowledge talaga. Gusto namin silang i-seminar, gusto namin silang matuto kung paano mag-coach, kung paano lumangoy, para magkaroon sila ng additional income or additional way na para magkaroon sila ng pagkakakitaan. For example, yung mga katulad ko na before tambay, binigyan ako ng chance na matuto. Yung mga nakikita namin, kasi we're from Tondo, pareho. Nakikita namin kung gaano kahirap yung mga wala ka talagang idea, kung hindi mo alam kung paano ka magtatrabaho, kasi nasanay ka na eh. Yun ang inaay namin. Dapat mababa natin sa level na to yung kung ano man yung narating, kung ano yung knowledge natin, i-share natin with TESDA certification. Kaya nabuo namin yung Solid Inc. Before, ang target na, ang focus namin, swimming lang eh. Ngayon, nag-grow
Evolve.
kami. Nag-evolve. Nagkaroon kami ng ibang sports pa, which is maganda para meron pa tayong mas maraming matulungan na tao.
Ayan. So, Coach, since marami po kayong experience, pwede ba natin pag-usapan ng isa sa mga pinakamainit na topics ngayon sa larangan ng sports, ang basketball?
Sige sir.
Ito, Coach Darren, nag-champion ka sa NCAA, kasama mo si Coach Chito Victolero, Coach Randy Alcantara,
Benny
sa
Cheng.
Mapua dati, Benny Cheng,
Benny
back-to-back
Cheng.
during
Yes,
the
sir.
90s. Ang pinakamainit na usapan ngayon, yung mga players na umaalis sa PBA, yung mga iba hindi na nagpapadraft, dediretso na sa ibang bansa. Bakit po ba ganun yung nangyayari ngayon sa Philippine basketball?
Alam mo sir, topic palagi namin yan sa nagbabasketball. Sabi, yung si Escape, yung MVP namin sa Mapua, yung pogi na shooter.
Escamis. Clint
no?
Escamis.
Sabi niya, may kumukuha na raw siya sa Korea.
Okay.
Sabi namin, siguraduhin mo na kasi sayang yan. When the iron is hot, strike it. So dito kasi sa PBA natin, alam natin na limited ang funds. Ano yung pinakamatangkad nating player? Yung
Kai
magaling,
Soto.
si Kai Soto. pasensya na sir, no? Meron ako sa lapses sa pangalan. Si Kai Soto. Si Kai Soto, napakalaki po ng sweldo niyan sa international, ano? Di kayang pantayan. Wala pa akong kilalang PBA player na sumweldo ng sinisweldo ni Kai Soto at saka anong mga magagaling natin nandun. Ravena, no? Yan, nandun sila lahat eh. Iniintay ko, from Ateneo, iniintay ko, kala ko magpi-PBA. Nagpunta sila doon. Hindi kaya, sir. Kaya nga ang tawag dito, pro basketball. Ibig sabihin, may money. So pagka pro basketball, kung saan ang pinakamalaking magbibigay yan, doon yan pupunta. Kaya even si Kai, ang laki na ng kinikita, he's also trying his best to be drafted sa NBA. Kasi doon, yung pinakamalitang kita doon, $2 million eh. Di ba? Kaya gusto niya ring mapunta doon sa NBA na ano na yun. Ang ano dyan is yung bayad sa kanila. Kung saan talaga may pinakamalaking bayad dahil pro nga sila, doon pumupunta.
So that's why even though the PBA has imposed this rule of a 3-year ban,
Yes.
they will go where the money is.
Of course, sir.
Okay. Bago tayo magtapos, ito, hindi ko papakawalan to si Coach Roel kasi isa pa sa mga pinakamainit na usapan ngayon, Junmar Fajardo, 8-time PBA MVP pero 2 points lamang sa huling laro against Chinese Taipei. Mamaya, feeling ko babawi yon si Abay sa New Zealand. Ano ang komento mo doon, Coach Roel? Bakit ganun lang yung puntos ni Junmar?
Una sa lahat, pasensya na sa mga San Miguel fans una sa lahat, ito opinion lang ng naglalaro rin naman, hindi naman Gilas follower talaga ako eh. Inaabangan ko talaga yan, minsan puya talaga kahit madaling araw. Siyempre, iba yung ang nakikita ko, iba yung program na pinanggalingan ni Junmar like San Miguel team, isang sister company sila. Iba yung program nila as a whole team compared dun sa nag-handle na coach ngayon. Yun yung nakikita ko na kasi iba si Abay madalas nasa ilalim yan. Pag nakapwesto talagang mahirap pigilan. Ang problema yung may hawak ng bola hindi naman alam na ganun yung laro niya.
So kumbaga depende sa sistema.
Depende sa system, depende sa siyempre sa mag-handle, depende sa player na makakasama.
Buti na lang, hindi siya nakalimutan ni Scotty. Napasahan sa ilalim, nakapunta si
Nabibigyan pa rin
Junmar.
naman siya.
And I have a feeling he's gonna bounce back tonight as Gilas Pilipinas faces New Zealand.
Sana, sir.
Oo, at ngayon hindi na tayo masyado kailangan magpuyat kasi
Maaga.
11 o'clock yung
11
laro.
Oo.
Coach Darren, Coach Romero,
Yes, sir.
maraming salamat.
Marami din po salamat sa opportunity, sir.
Thank you. Up next, it's a grindhouse showdown out west. Thomas is taking over games. Boston is holding the line. And Mitchell's got her foot on the gas. Can the Mercury stay hot at home? Or do the Fever keep proving they're more than just headlines? One night, one shot. You better keep your eyes on the prize. Welcome back to the Scorecard. It's time to keep your eyes on the prize. Let's talk about two teams that are quietly playing some of the best basketball in the WNBA, but not getting nearly enough love for it. The Indiana Fever. 7-3 in their last 10, they've reinvented themselves without Caitlin Clark in the lineup. And what did they do after dropping a brutal game in LA? Well, they come out swinging, put up 91, and nearly steal it late. This team doesn't fold. They reload. Kelsey Mitchell is in absolute takeover mode. She dropped 34 on the Sparks, 7 threes, and gave Indiana every chance to pull off the comeback. We're seeing a scorer at her peak, playing with pace, confidence, and no hesitation. And then, there is Aaliyah Boston. She's been the anchor, even when the box score doesn't show it. She had 15 and 9 last game, but if you watched, she was the reason. Indiana even stayed in it through 3 quarters. Footwork, passing, rim protection. She's not just a post player. She's a system. But now, here comes the problem. Alyssa Thomas and the Mercury. They're rolling. 2 straight triple-doubles. She's not padding stats. She's dominating games with pace, vision, and that old-school physicality. There's no player in the league right now doing more in more ways than Thomas. Phoenix has won 4 straight at home. They jumped all over Connecticut, holding them to 66. They're not just scoring, they're defending. And that's new. That's dangerous. The key matchup, it's got to be Alyssa Thomas and Aaliyah Boston, two front court generals, two completely different styles. If Boston controls the block, Indiana slows the game down and forces Phoenix to make shots over the top. But if Thomas starts dragging Boston into the open floor, Indiana's rotations are going to get shredded. The X factor here, shooting efficiency. Phoenix is at their best when they're shooting 44% or better. And that means Copper and Bonner needs to stay hot. If Indiana gets out and runs, watch Ari McDonald and Natasha Howard because they're killers in transition. And here's something nobody's talking about. Indiana's bench has quietly become a real weapon. They scored 37 in their last meeting with Phoenix. And if that group shows up again, we've got a 4-quarter fight in our hands. So who blinks first? Phoenix is playing like a team built for the grind, but Indiana, they've got the urgency. They know every game without Clark is a test. They've been answering. So stay ahead of the game as the race to the WNBA playoffs tightens. Two teams making a push, one night to make it count. Here's your full court breakdown for tomorrow. And that's your full court focus. 2 playoff level squads, 2 MVP caliber bigs. And with just weeks left in the regular season, there are no freebies left. The Fever are hunting respect. The Mercury are defending home turf. Who strikes first in this late season battle? Tune in, lock in, and as always, keep your eyes on the prize. Before we go, think on this. From the founder of Onitsuka Company Limited, who was driven by the belief that sports could revitalize Japan's youth after their country's devastating defeat during World War II. Kihachiro Onitsuka once said, "Sports don't just build bodies, they restore purpose." And with that, thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see you again tomorrow on the Scorecard, where sports is our business and business is our sport, right here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. This has been Anton Roxas. Have a blessed evening, everybody. Good night.